Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm Coach Tom Ferry, and welcome to Sales Power. For the last 2 decades, I've been fortunate enough to work as a business coach, as a seminar leader, helping many of the most successful agents in North America and from around the world improve their sales performance. I was honored when RE/MAX called and said, Tom, we've read your book, Life by Design. We've seen the work that you've done. We've asked all these great agents, and every one of them said the same thing. You have the unique ability to take the fundamentals of real estate, bring them back to life in agents' businesses, and take them to 2.0, utilizing the power of social media. So the blending of the two, which ultimately creates what? A more relevant real estate professional. So as we begin this journey together, I want you to know we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to laugh, we're going to learn, and most importantly, we're going to develop new skills, new talents, and new abilities that are going to grow your sales business. So let's begin. Open up your workbook and let's talk about expectations for sales power. In your notes, I want you to jot down the following. We've got a few promises we're going to work on today. Number one, we're going to talk about what you're going to learn, or the promises of sales power. I want you to know exactly what you're getting into. Number two, we're going to learn the power of right focus. The power of right focus, which is one of the cornerstones of everything I've taught all of my most successful clients. In addition, you're going to learn what to say to the #1 consumer question we get every single day. And I'm just curious, how many of you can guess what that is? What's the #1 question we hear from everybody today when they see that RE/MAX name badge or that balloon on your shirt? What do they ask?
How's the market?
How's the market? And the question is, do you know what to say to schedule an appointment? Or are you like so many people before that I say, how's the market? They say something like this, it's great. Now, if that's what you normally say, Houston, we have a problem. And you're going to love the little dialogue I'm going to share with you today that's going to show you how you can answer that question in a consumer-centric way and cause those clients to be more interested, more engaged, and potentially schedule a buyer, a listing, or an investing appointment with you. That is the power of sales power, my friends. And the last thing is, I'm going to show you the numbers that will help you create more certainty in your business. You see, when people come to me, they're normally looking for an increase in performance. I don't get a lot of phone calls like this. Hey, Tom, I'm making more money than I've ever made before. How can you help me? No. Normally people call and say, I was used to earning this, and now at times I'm feeling like I'm working 3 times as hard for half the pay. What do I need to do? And I share with them the numbers that I'm going to share with you, which causes them to recognize the business that we're really in and what they need to do every single day to make that happen, to earn the money you deserve. Let me ask you a question. Do you know today how many people you need to talk to make one sale? I'm shocked by the number of people around the world when I ask that question say, well, I have no idea. Now, there's always a smarty pants that says, yeah, I just need to talk to the right one, to which my response is, of course, you are right. But how many of the potentially wrong ones do you need to speak to before you find the right one? One of our goals in Sales Power is to show you what the numbers are and allow you to diversify your lead generation, talking to enough people every single day, every single week, building your brand, becoming the agent of choice, and ultimately selling more homes. So in your workbook, turn to the next page and let's talk about the promises of sales power, what you can expect by going through this program. Number one, please write down, it says, to find your best place in today's market. Your best place in today's market. I want you to become clear on your skills, the market, and ultimately your place in it. Please write down the following as a major value we share with our customers every day in your notes. Write down, there's no wrong way to generate a lead. There's no wrong way to attract your next client. My friends, as you're watching this video, one of the major challenges real estate professionals have faced over the last decade or so is we've become a little too positional about how we want to do business. Some people went extreme this way and others went extreme this way. And yet, when I talk to my personal clients, some of the best agents on the planet, Every one of them, would it shock you to hear, has multiple ways that they bring in customers. And not one of them ever says, hey, wait a minute, sorry, that doesn't work for me. If the client wants to buy and the client wants to sell and the client is likable, then they work with them. Does that make sense? And one of the bigger mistakes we've seen is people have limited their lead generation. We're going to talk about this throughout the course of Sales Power, as one of our goals is to first improve what you already do, and then secondarily, add multiple new channels of lead generation so you always have enough good buyers and good sellers to talk to. So that value of there's no wrong way to generate a lead is an important distinction, especially as you progress through this course when I begin to say, here's a solution for this one, here's another solution for this one, here's a strategy or system for maybe something you've done in the past that didn't work, and I'm going to reveal 3 brand new ways to do it, and I'm going to ask you to jump in. So very important distinction. There's no wrong way to find your next perfect client. Number 2, write this down. We're going to create a plan that's right for you. We're going to develop a plan that's right for you, meaning what works for this young man may be different from this gal right here. Every single one of us needs to find inside us what are our skills, our abilities, our unique desires and things that we're passionate about in real estate. Some people love condos. Some people like single-family residences. Some people like working with investors. Some people even like those short sales. Yes, can you believe that? Well, here's the reality. If you find and do what you love, and then you harness that into a plan, you are tapping into what I call your sales power. Number 3, write down the following. We're going to harness and work on what we call state management. State management. I got to tell you a story. I remember seeing a guy named Zig Ziglar speak. Boy, it must have been 1988, so I know I'm dating myself here. But it was one of the first motivational seminars I'd ever gone to, and I was a young salesperson at the time, just getting into my career. It was like the Anaheim Convention Center, and it felt like there was 8 gazillion people there, and I got lucky to sit in the front row. And if you can picture this 18-year-old kid, I got the workbook out, and there's Zig. If you've seen Zig before, I love Zig. You know, he's sliding down on one knee saying, you got to have goals for yourself, and you got to have a good attitude. And if you've read my book, Life by Design, I kind of had some strange experiences growing up as a kid. I was, kicked out of a few high schools. I had a mohawk. I was kicked out of both parents' homes, kind of perfect to become a motivational speaker, right? Well, I'm sitting there with all that baggage and all these stories in my head, and here's this guy telling me, I've got to have a great attitude. And I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I understood the concept of fake it till you make it, right? He talked about that, put a smile on your face because y'all need a checkup from the neck up and all those other cute lines that Zig would say. But I remember as I went back to my office the next few days and asked around everybody, what does that mean to have a good attitude? What does it mean and why is it really important? See, in the early days, I didn't understand. When Carl Jung said, perception is projection. Please write that down. Perception is projection. And what he meant by that was how you feel on the inside radiates to the people on your outside. We've all had the experience before. There might even be someone that used to work in your office, not anymore, that when they walked in, what they projected out had all the living plants die as they were walking by. Have you guys ever met that person before? Right? They walk into the room, and I actually refer to them as energy-sucking vampires. They show up, and maybe you've seen this at one of your open houses. That client walks in, that they walk in, and all of a sudden the lights go dark, and everything just gets a little strange. Those kind of people clearly don't have the right attitude. Certainly not for sales, certainly not for what we do every single day. So only later, when I got exposed to my friend Tony Robbins, did I really understand how do we cultivate that attitude. So if you look there in your notes, you see a little circle. At the top it says physiology, focus, and self-talk. What we discovered, right, is your physiology, your focus, and your self-talk creates your attitude, which means there is no faking it till you make it. Your buyer knows if you're in a bad mood. Your seller knows if something's a little bit off. People read that energy. If you want to maximize your sales power, you have to recognize that one of the highest priorities for a salesperson today is to feel good, so you radiate that good, positive energy in every presentation and conversation you make. So how do we control that? We utilize the power of moving our body in a powerful way. Just for fun, everybody do this with me right now. Come on, I'm watching right now. You're watching this video. Even if you're on RE/MAX University and you're all by yourself, pay attention, go like this. And on the count of 3, I want you to clench your fists together and say the word yes. You guys ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes. Now, when you did that, how did you feel? Did you immediately go, oh, I just feel so terrible? No, because you were moving your body and you gave it a little yes, your energy automatically was lifted. Now, are you saying, right, Tom, are you telling me that what you want me to do is walk around my office going, yes, yes? Well, if you're an energy-sucking vampire, the answer is yes. That's what I want you to do. I want you to break the cycle, break the pattern, and begin to move your body in a more confident, powerful way. The next one is your focus. Please write this down. Your focus is determined by the questions you ask yourself most often. So if you're asking yourself questions like, why is my business going this direction? Your mind is going to say, because you don't do any of the things you said you're supposed to do and you don't follow through, you ding-dong. What do we know? If you ask yourself great questions, you get a great answer. What we really know about human psychology is when you ask yourself better questions, your mind gets focused on what it is that you want. Do you want more listings and sales? Do you want more happy customers? Do you want a business that's by design? Well, then we ask ourselves, how do I attract more happy buyers and sellers? How do I run my business by design? And that shifts your focus, which ultimately shifts your attitude. The last one is your self-talk. Now, I'm going to assume, as a powerful RE/MAX professional, that you read lots of books and you listen to audio programs and you're always exposing yourself to the right message. I'm going to encourage you to read a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. If you've read that book before, you know the power of self-talk. You know the influence it can have by talking yourself into success versus talking yourself out of success. Matter of fact, just for fun, if you're sitting there with a group, will you turn to your buddy, everybody right now, turn to your buddy, look him right in the eye and say, your head is a scary place to be. Go ahead.
Your head is a scary place to be.
Now, we all know that to be true in real estate. So when I say to you one of the promises of sales power is to work on your state management, what I'm really saying is I want you to start taking responsibility for the way you walk, the way you talk, what you say to yourself, and what you focus on, which ultimately will create a better attitude. When you have a better attitude, what happens? You take more consistent action. You take more consistent action, and when you take more consistent action, you begin to generate results. And guess what happens when you generate good results? Your physiology, your focus, and your self-talk, those muscles get stronger and stronger and stronger. My friend, the very best people we know in business, in sports, in relationships, in life, have control of their state. When you take that on, your business will improve. Look at number 4. In your notes, it says we're going to learn to utilize more of the company's resources. I was honored when we started working on this project together. I sat with everybody at RE/MAX in Denver and said, show me Main Street, show me Lead Street. Let's look for the ways that rather than me telling you, hey, go out to this service or go sign up for that program, you guys have it all. What we've discovered, though, as I talk to people is you're only utilizing 5 or 10% of what's available for you for free. So we really want to integrate all of this lead generation into what you already have. Look at number 5. We want to keep you in massive action. We're going to keep you for the next 90 to 100 plus days in massive action, growing your business, doing the right activities, and ultimately creating a business that you love. Look at the last one, number 6. We're going to show you how to track and measure not only the numbers of your business, but your overall performance. Please write this down in your notes. When you track your numbers, you create a more predictable business. See, people come to me all the time and they say, Tom, you know, I want more certainty. I want more like security. I feel like real estate's so full of all these highs and lows. I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm rich, I'm poor. What they really want is a more predictable business. They want to know that when they wake up in the morning on Monday morning, that everything is going right and the lead generation is happening. So when I show up, I've got leads in my email box and I know there's people I need to call and follow up on. That's called creating certainty. When we have certainty in our business, our confidence goes up and so does our sales power. So those are the 6 primary promises. That's what you can count on over your course of time going through this program. Turn to the next page, and I want to ask you a question. Do you feel you're currently outperforming the market and the people around you. Anybody in the room competitive? Anybody watching this a little bit competitive? If you're competitive, do you feel today that you're outproducing the market, and are you doing as much as you can do to be the best you can be in this business? Or are you like some people I talk to that really do complain about, and I get it, they feel as if the market has gotten the best of them. They were running along for a while doing okay, and suddenly the market makes adjustments, and let's be clear, doing this now for 21 years, I've seen a lot of market cycles. I've seen it good, I've seen it bad, I've seen it everything in between. Buyer market, seller market, you know, a 9.5% interest rate, 3.5% interest rate. We've seen it all. The very best people always break the cycle early. It doesn't matter what's going on, they focus on them, serving their clients and finding their way in whatever market they're in. That's what we want to do throughout the course of Sales Power. To help you do that, I want to show you some numbers. Now, in your notes, right there on those blank pages, or that blank page, I want you to write down 129 to 1, 80.2 to 1, and 49.5 to 1. 129 to 1, 80.2, and 49.5. Now you might be saying, Tom, what do those numbers represent? Well, a good example of when a new client begins to work with us, they're having 129 new conversations to one sale made. Now, as you hear that number, it's not a great number, but it is a pretty typical number for an agent that is struggling to achieve the results that they want, making the money that they deserve. More often than not, they've got to talk to way more people to make that one sale. Now, here's what's great today is that new conversation could take place at Starbucks. It could be a referral from a past client. It could be somebody at an open house. It could be a lead from Remax.com. There's no wrong way to generate a lead. What it's about, though, is how many new conversations before you make that sale. Well, very typical after they begin to work with us and they do everything we're going to ask you to do throughout your time in Sales Power, they have a big jump and they go from 129 down to about 80.2. 80.2 conversations to one sale is the benchmark I want to use with all of you. So I want you to consider this. In the next 12 months, would you like to add 18 sales to your business? Think about it. How many of you would like to add 18 transactions to what you already do in the next 12 months? If you would like that, what the numbers show us is all that means is 6.5 new conversations a day for about 222 days out of the year, and those numbers will bring you to 18 new transactions. Now, that's called creating certainty. That's making your business more predictable. Now, when I say to you 6.5 new conversations, this is where that conversation of, wait a minute, Tom, what are you going to ask me? Do you want me to cold call? We're in the 2000s. Hello. There is so many different ways to attract clients today. That is on the list of 40 different things you can do to attract customers. It just happens to be really down low on the list. I want you to go after more of the low-hanging fruit and the natural diversification, building those pillars of lead generation that are good for you, right for your brand, and good for your market. So consider this. 6.5 conversations a day could be something as simple as you. By the way, do you wear your company name badge every day? How many of you wear your Remax name badge every day? Well, what does Remax spend? $8 bazillion every single year around the world, making sure you have the most recognizable brand in real estate, and yet some people don't wear their name badge. You know what I call those agents? Secret agents. They're hiding from buyers and sellers. For the rest of us, we know we wear our company name badge. You could just walk into Starbucks. And by the way, this is how you have to walk into Starbucks. So you're very recognizable and you're wearing that name badge and people are going to go, Remax name badge. And then what question are they going to ask you?
How's the market?
Well, they're going to say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And they're probably going to say, okay, so what's going on? You know, what's happening in the market? What's going on? What's happening with prices? You know, they're asking the same question. I want you to consider, for many of you, you could sit inside Starbucks for 2 hours and have 6.5 new conversations a day. And by the way, last time I checked, for many of you, more people go to Starbucks than your open houses. So Be really clear, my friends, that is the benchmark number. And if I could wave a magic wand over every person that goes through Sales Power, you would take on the discipline of 6.5 new conversations a day for 222 days out of the year. And I promise you, my friends, your business will go through the roof in spite of you. Now, you do notice there is a lower number. We have people today, the great majority of our coaching clients, the people that we get to talk to every single week and twice a month, they're averaging right now 49.5 new conversations to a sales made. Well, be really clear. They've diversified their lead generation and they have accountability. They're talking to someone every single week about their business. What we know is when you measure your performance and you report it back to someone else, your results go through the roof. So guess what? Over the course of your time in Sales Power, I'm going to ask you to report your numbers to your mentor. You're going to be tracking your numbers, and once a week, we're going to be analyzing and looking at the results you're producing to make sure you're progressing at the level you want. Now, if you're watching this on RE/MAX University and you're all by yourself, what I'm going to ask you to do is track your numbers and then have a conversation with your manager or get another buddy inside the office to go through this with you so the two of you can talk about the numbers and talk about your results. For the rest of you that you've got a mentor there, congratulations. Your mentor is going to be asking you about the numbers every single week, and I hope to see this kind of breakthrough in performance. Now, 6.5 new conversations a day. Are you guys up for that? And again, there's no wrong way to do it. You can have an open house and have 70 people walk through, right or wrong. And if you think about 80.2, could you imagine if 80 people walked through your open house and you went like this? No, 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 no. When you got to the 80th person, you're like, you're my guy, right? You're going to buy a house. By the way, write this down just for fun. What's your average commission? What's your average commission? Let's make it easy. Let's say your average commission is $10,000. Well, if you divide $10,000, and I know that's just an average and it's just an easy number, got to keep it simple. At $10,000, divide that by 80, guess what that means? That's $125 for every no. $125 for every no, and on the 80th, it's a yes. So for me, I've always been a big fan of changing my psychology and changing my feeling about getting a no or not ready at this time or thank you so much, but no, I really don't want to meet with you. And I look at that and say, $125. Thanks. How's the market? Oh, the market is, blah, 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 blah. I do my little script and the person goes, oh, I'm really not interested in any of that stuff. Thanks for the $125. That's a mindset you may want to adapt, especially when you think about 6.5 new conversations a day. You see, every person you talk to, whether you think about the dollar or you think about what I really want you to think about, which is the extension of your brand, every person you talk to today is an opportunity for you to have your brand become larger than life. It's an opportunity for you to share and connect and meet new people and have relevant conversations about solutions to today's real estate issues. Every person you talk to, and the more people you talk to, the more people you can help, and the bigger your brand gets. Now let me ask you, would all of you be okay if you became more recognizable in your market? Mm-hmm. If people you're walking through the grocery store and people go, oh, there he is. There she, and they grab their phone and you're over there with your shopping cart, putting a Wheaties box in and they go, click, because you've become the star of the market. I promise you, my friends, if your desire is to have that big of a brand throughout the course of Sales Power, we can do it. If that makes you nervous, you'll just want to do a little bit less and you'll be a little less recognizable. But let's be very clear. You work for a company that has done a lot to create a very recognizable brand. I want you to consider today's consumer is looking for 2 names they can trust. 2 names that they can trust. RE/MAX is one and you're the other. In your notes, let's look at the next page. There's 4 unique parts to Sales Power. 4 things that we're going to work on with you that you're going to be constantly working to improve upon. Look at number 1, how to schedule way more appointments, which we're going to show you in a minute. So fill in how to schedule way more appointments. What I know is this. If you want to create a breakthrough in your business, if you want to create a breakthrough in your performance, I got to get you out of the office and talking to more potential buyers and sellers. In your notes, I want you to write this down. What I've discovered is even a lousy appointment is better than no appointments. I'd rather you be out talking to people, making presentations, talking about investing, talking about buying, educating them on the market, than sitting at your house or sitting at your office. I want you to be thinking, I'm a lean, mean appointment setting machine. In your notes, I want you to write down the goal right there on number 1 is to go on 200 appointments a year. 200 appointments a year, which is about 20 appointments a month for 10 months out of the year. 200 appointments. Now, when you think about that number, some of you are thinking, whoa, Tom, I'm already there, where others might be saying, that's an overwhelming number. What do we do? How do I make that happen? Is there any chance that I could do that? Well, here's what I know. Inside Sales Power, starting with today, I'm going to show you the simple little strategies to go on way more appointments. They're going to cause you to win. We're going to get to it in just 1 second. Look at number 2. It says we're going to look at ways to convert those appointments into signed contracts and ultimately dollars in your pocket. So fill in, converting to signed contracts. The business today, my friends, as it's always been, is about lead generation and lead conversion. Whoever can get the most eyeballs to go to their website, look at their marketing, ask more questions, connect with them, that's the beginning. And then from there, it's the ability to convert. So throughout this program, we're going to be working on various scripts and dialogues that cause you to convert. Look at number 3, how to maintain a new level of success. Throughout this program, you're going to have these bursts of productivity. You'll hear me mention it certainly at the very end, because here's what happens. The typical real estate professional today has 3 bursts of big income. And normally their year, if you analyzed it like a stock on the stock market, it would look like this. I'm poor, I'm rich. I'm poor, I'm rich. I'm poor, I'm rich, and I'm poor. 3 times a year, they do all the business. They get into the game, they start doing their lead generation, they close out a couple transactions. What we want to do is have your business look more like that. So in your notes, when we say maintaining a new level of performance, write down below that systems, checklists, accountability, structure, to keep these new programs in place. So it's not just try it this week and forget about it the next week. It's not that we learned it on this video session today and I'm going to forget about it next week. We want to build on every single week these new lead generation strategies. They're going to cause your business to have that kind of breakthrough. The last one, number 4, write down, we're going to learn, again, the unfair advantage you have as a RE/MAX agent. I want to exploit all the opportunities. So I'm going to continually reference Lead Street, talking about, hey, go to Design Center, let's create this. Everything that you need is available, and I want you to become more comfortable with it. What do we know? It's very typical when you get involved in any new software solution. Most people will say, hey, I've got Outlook, Microsoft's world-famous Outlook, and most people use 5 to 10% of it. They schedule and they put people on calendars, but they don't use the follow-ups. They don't, take advantage of the robust 80, 90% that's there. And we've seen the same thing amongst some RE/MAX agents. You've got everything you need there to build your business and do it by design. I just want you to do more of it during your time in Sales Power. Now, let's shift gears. I've been talking about promises and things you're going to do. Now, I want to talk to you about your mindset and what you focus on. I can remember taking on a client that found herself, like many people, struggling in real estate. She actually lived in Detroit, and unfortunately, she got a divorce. And she looked at her 2 adult boys and said, well, we're in Detroit, we want to leave. Do we want to go to Florida or California? And they kind of did an eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and guess what? They ended up deciding to go to California. When they decided to go to California, because they had never been there before and didn't know much about it, they said, well, we might as well live close to the ocean, right? That sounds like a good idea. And they kind of did this, up and down the coast, hit one, looked down and went La Jolla, which would be La Jolla, California. But, from Detroit, La Jolla, all right, let's go. They did their research, and you know what? They packed it up, and she moved to La Jolla. And guess what? In her first year, she sold a house. the condo that she bought, right? Got to make that first sale though. In her next year, she did 3 transactions. And when I met her, she was just finishing her 3rd year and she was on pace to do about 11 transactions. And when I talked to her, I happened to be working in an office in La Jolla, talking to a bunch of my coaching clients, kind of at 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30. So occasionally I just drive down and see them face to face and find out what they were up to and watch and observe their performance. And then as I was walking out, the manager of the office said, "Hey, could you meet this gal real fast?" And I said, "I'd be honored." I shook her hand and, introduced myself, and she introduced herself. And I said, "So, where are you from?" Because I heard a little bit of an accent. She said, "I'm originally from Detroit." I said, "How long you been in San Diego?" "Been here for a couple of years." "How's your business?" And she looked at me and she went, "I'm tired and it's hard and it's a grind." And I said, "Well, that's not the way the business is supposed to be." But clearly you can hear by that, she wasn't running it by design. I asked her this question because she said, "You coach all these great agents in my office, like the top 5 agents in San Diego at the time, 4 of them working in that same office. That's competitive, right or wrong, guys?" So I'm working with all of them. She says, "Could you spend some time with me?" And I said, "I'm not looking for another client right now, but I can help you with something." She said, "Yeah." I said, "Grab your notepad." And we wrote out this circle, and you could see right there inside your workbook the same thing I showed that gal that day. If you look at your notes, I said the human mind could only focus on one thing at a time. And I asked her, "What's taking up your mind space?" You know what she said? "Buyers, and they're frustrating." I said, if what you're thinking about all the time is buyers and they're frustrating, are you thinking about solutions to help them buy more houses and how to make your business easier? We know the answer is no. I said, you, my dear, are caught up in the farthest circle, which is drama. Drama. Now, can you have a lot of drama in your life and be highly successful? Most people would say no, because drama is an addiction that people get consumed by. Who's sleeping with who? Is Brad and Angelina gonna make it? I mean, you know those kind of people? I hope you're not one of them, right? You don't get the National Enquirer sent to you, do you? If you do, you know how bad this can be, because guess what, my friends? As you can imagine, what is the goal? We want to hit the bullseye every day with our focus and in our business. So I said to her, drama could be an issue. Then if you look down the list, I said another thing that we see people that suffer from is they suffer because they're focusing on incomplete projects. How many of you watching this right now have a whole bunch of incomplete projects? Your website isn't finished, you haven't done your brochures, you haven't taken new photos in a while, you're thinking about organizing your desk, you want a whole new filing system, and oh, by the way, I want to learn to understand Main Street. So we're always consumed by incomplete projects. But let me ask you, how much business are you doing when all you're thinking about and all you're focusing on is all the incomplete projects? Real estate can be like a black hole. It could suck you in and you vanish. And you could spend all your time just working on projects and never meet with buyers and sellers. Do you know some agents like that? Are they sitting in your chair right now? I hope not. If they are, I'm really glad we're having this message. The next one I said to her was, look, it's about contacts. I said, people get hung up in real estate. Even though I just shared with you, 129 conversations, 80.2 conversations, I didn't say to you, focus on contacts. I just shared a benchmark number. Some people in real estate, they go from drama to incomplete to finally realizing, man, I got to do an open house. I got to talk to some people. I got to send a mail around. I got to do an email campaign. I got to run an ad. Maybe I do a bunch patch. All they're thinking is, I got to get some people to call me, or I got to call them. But here's the challenge, my friends. How many of you know at least one person that makes a lot of contacts but never sells any houses? I took on a client named Matthew from Long Island, New York, right? One of my very first personal coaching clients, what feels like 100 years ago. And I asked Matthew on our first coaching session, tell me about your business, where does it come from? And I kid you not, he slammed his hand on his chest and he said, I knock on 100 doors a day. And I said, you knock on 100 doors a day? I said, in the summer? And he said, yeah, in the summer. I said, in the winter? He said, even in the winter. And I said, why? Why do you knock on 100 doors a day? You know what he said to me? I saw this other guy in Los Angeles, he knocks 100 doors a day, so I'm gonna do the same. And I said, listen, my friend, his business is different from your business. His personality, his style, his market, everything is different. You gotta know yourself and you gotta know your market and then make the right offer in terms of lead generation. He said, I don't get that. I said, that's why we're working together. Well, guess what? Here's what I discovered in his 100 door knocks a day. He was going out and doing this in his mind. Check 1, check 2, check 3. So I talked to you, no. I talked to you, no. Hey, you ever thought about selling? No. You ever thought about selling? No, 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 no. Because in his mind, he thought, I just got to get through the 100. Well, guess what? He knocked on 100 doors a day and sold 27 homes. 100 doors a day and only sold 27 homes. I said, my goodness, based on my numbers, if you were doing this right, you'd be selling 150 homes a year. I said, here's what I'm sensing. What you focus on, what's taking up your mind space is getting to 100, not making a connection with the client to find out if they have some problems or issues or questions that you could be of service of. It's a very different mindset, my friend. Well, guess what? The next year, oh, by the way, gotta tell you, I get on the phone with his wife and I say, hey, you help him in the business. Tell me where the business comes from. The 27 transactions. Would it shock you to hear that 18 of them came from his past clients, Sphere, repeat and referral? She proudly did 4 or 5 from open houses and the rest came from door knocking. When I told him this, he said, yeah, but look at me, I'm in great shape. I said, so you're knocking on doors to get in better shape. You know, you can just go to the gym for that instead. It's a simple illustration of how often people get focused on the wrong thing and they do it over and over again, not really thinking about what really should I be focusing on. I went on to say to Iris, the next thing that I see is people get caught up in the leads game. You guys ever done this before? Let's do it, be honest. I talk to agents all the time. You ever had that one great lead? You guys know what I mean? Like the lead that will solve all of your financial problems. You know, the investor that you just met, that all of a sudden you're walking around and you're holding your lead and you're kissing your lead because this lead is going to make everything in your life better. What happens when you put all your eggs in one basket? What happens when you give one client that much energy? What always happens? They go away, they buy from somebody else, they flake out. I said, if you're focusing on your leads, I said, you can't call your banker and say, hey, this month I'm just gonna send you my leads instead of a check for my mortgage, right? That's not gonna work. Leads, my friends, write this down. Leads have no value. Leads have no value. They are only possibility. Leads have no value. They're only possibility. What has value, my friends, is the next inner circle that I shared with her, and that is appointments. Appointments. So what I said to her was, how many appointments do you go on in a normal month? And guess what? She kind of did one of these, like 4. I probably go on 4. She said, now does it count if I've shown the same buyer 4,700 homes? Do those count? I said, well, every time you're out with a buyer, technically, yes, that is an appointment, but I'm referring to how many new appointments do you go on? How many new clients are you meeting with? She said, maybe 2 or 3 a month. Maybe 2 or 3 a month. Well, could you imagine trying to build a highly productive, high-powered sales business, only meeting with 2 to 3 people a month? But when I asked her, what do you focus on? Guess what she said? She said, most of the time, I'm wrapped up in the drama. I'm still new to this area. I don't know a lot of people. I want to find a date. I got to do all this stuff. And guess what, my friends? As a life coach, as a strategist, I get it all. What she wanted was a breakthrough in her business. And what I said to her is the same thing I'm saying to you. I want you to begin to focus on appointments, 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 appointments. I want you thinking 1 appointment a day. And as I've said to you before, even a lousy appointment is better than no appointments. I'd rather you be sitting at Starbucks for 15 or 20 minutes, having a conversation with somebody, answering their questions about real estate, talking about investing, finding out what their goals, needs, wants, and desires are, and having that conversation. And by the way, if you have it in a public place and you're wearing your name badge and that person leaves, there's a pretty good chance other people heard that conversation, right or wrong. And might they just walk over and prospect you? What do you guys think? Stop being a secret agent. 200 plus appointments a year, and you're going to win. Now, you're probably saying, wait a minute, Tom, the inner circle, is it written in there? Guess what it is? Signed contracts. Signed contracts. Today, the highest level producers I coach, we don't necessarily focus on appointments as the leading indicator. We focus on the lagging indicator, which is how many signed contracts did you get? With many of my clients, as an example, how many listings taken? How many listings sold? How many buyer sales? How many price reductions? Every single week, we're talking about how many signed contracts did you get? And we know that that's ultimately going to create the kind of income that they want. Well, if you're not there yet, should you be focusing on contacts or should you be focused on appointments? What do you guys think? Okay, 100%. Turn to your buddy right now, look him right in the eye, and say, you are a lean, mean appointment setting machine. Go ahead, real loud.
You are a lean, mean appointment setting machine.
Now, if you've, of course, seen, you know, what is that great movie, Stripes? You guys all with me on this? Good old John Candy. We're lean, mean appointment setting machines. With that mindset, you're going to win in sales power. So let's go back to our notes. It says, question, how many appointments do you go on each week right now? Fill in the answer. Are you like my client I mentioned from San Diego? Ready? How many appointments are you going on right now? Let's get present to that number. And then I'm going to share with you what happened to my client. So tell your buddy, how many appointments, new appointments, are you currently going on per month? How many? I heard a 4. Okay, I heard a 20. How many are you going on? Well, watch this. That gal I'm telling you about in San Diego, California, her name is Iris, to be fair. Iris was going on 2 to 4. Utilizing the strategies of sales power you're about to learn, she went from 4. The next month was January. And in the month of January, she went on 21 appointments, 21 new appointments, because every day she woke up thinking, who's my next appointment? Who can I help? Who's got questions about real estate? Who's maybe got a problem that I can solve? And all of a sudden, everywhere she was going, she's running into people wearing her company name badge. They're asking, how's the market? She's answering the correct way, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then she'd say, would you like to get together for 15 or 20 minutes? I can answer this question more in depth. I'd like to take some time to put together some information for you and then present it to you. What would be the best time for us to get together? Appointment, 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 appointment. And guess what? In the month of January, she sold 6 homes. She did 11 transactions the entire 12 months before, and in January, she sold 6. Is that good? That is phenomenal. That is a massive breakthrough in results because she wasn't focused on the drama. She didn't care about the incomplete projects. Her website's not done. Who cares? Go meet with buyers and sellers. You'll make more money and then you can hire someone else to fix your website. She finally got that, my friends. And guess what? That breakthrough, I got to tell you the truth. Guess what happened in February? She went on about 12 appointments because all of a sudden now she got overwhelmed by what? 6 transactions to now manage. And she called me in February and said, I'm not having a very good month. I'm only going to sell 1. To which my response is, you're at 7 year to date. Now let's look at hiring an assistant, using the in-house transaction coordinator. Let's start systemizing your business. And guess what? In the month of March, she sold 3 homes. She finished that year at 32 sales. Is that good? Now you say, well, Tom, come on, that's not even 3 transactions a month. She did 11 the year before. Did we improve her skills? Not really. She learned what to say when people asked her, how's the market? What we really did is we got her focused on going on more appointments. Did you get the message? Did you hear this loud and clear? That's what I want from you. So now, back in your notes, 4 changes you're going to want to make to really cause yourself to win. Number 1, I wrote down, remember, real estate is about relationships first. She knew no one in San Diego. No one. Now she's got a hot date. Her boys are doing great. She sells, 40 homes a year, kind of Del Mar, La Jolla, central San Diego, if you will, crushing it. And it's all right here. She's just a lean, mean appointment setting machine. That's it. So did you write that down? Real estate is about relationships first, and then write this down. Next to that, appointments create better relationships. Appointments create better relationships because now we're face to face, we're connecting. I'm looking to solve problems, help you, provide you information so you can make better educated decisions. I'm bringing you value and therefore our relationships are strengthening. Does that make sense, everybody? Very important distinction. Number 2, write down, you might need to change your definition of an appointment. I'm asking you to consider changing your definition. When I said this to the gal in San Diego, I asked her, what's your definition of an appointment? You know what she did? She clicked her heels together as if she was in the military, and she said, an appointment is someone that's absolutely going to list with me in the next 30 days or less. And I said, wow, how many of those do you get? She said, none. But I went to this seminar, and that's what the guy told me, so I wrote it down, and that's kind of what I've been following. I said, listen, my dear, matter of fact, would you guys write down right now for yourself, how do you define an appointment? How do you define an appointment? Right there inside your workbook. Write it down right now. Don't pause the video. Just write down. How do you define an appointment? An appointment is a meeting with, or an appointment is, fill in the blank. Go ahead and do so right now. Let me share with you. Turn to the next page, and I want you to write down the definition that I've shared with so many of my clients as I did that gal in San Diego that caused her to win. In your notes, right there, it says, Tom Ferry's definition of an appointment is a meeting with someone I like. Very important distinction. A meeting with someone I like, because you know what? What do we know? When they are jerky, mean, and nasty up front, what happens?
They get worse.
It only gets worse. So I have the jerky radar. You with me? I have the likability radar. If we have a strong connection, if it's easy and natural to talk to them, if we kind of enjoy each other's company and conversation over the phone, then I'm going to meet with them. So I'm going to say it's a meeting with someone I like, but now let's keep writing. You ready? A meeting with someone I like who can have a positive impact on my business right now or the very near future. So it's a meeting with someone I like who can have a positive impact on my business right now or the very near future. So a meeting with someone I like who can have a positive impact on my business, a positive impact on my business right now or in the very near future. So does that mean perhaps a meeting with a past client to talk about fixing up their home today to put it on the market 9 months from now? Is that a good appointment? What do you guys think? I say absolutely yes. Maybe I'd like to do 2 or 3 or 4 of those a month to always have those in my pipeline. How about meeting with a potential investor? Is that a good appointment? How about meeting with someone that's thinking about investing or is curious about it and just looking for more information, more knowledge? Could that be a good appointment? A first-time buyer, is that a good appointment? How about someone of massive influence in your marketplace that by inviting them to a cup of coffee, they could introduce you to so many people that the referrals could go through the roof? Is that a good appointment? What do you guys think? Every one of us knows. I think of my old next-door neighbor, Wes. Wes, 85 years old, 2 houses down from me. Wes knows everybody's business in the community I live in. And the agent that works our area, I said to him, look, I'm going to do you a real big favor. I'm going to set up a breakfast meeting between you and I and Wes. And guess what happened? Those two connected. They had a ton of fun. I'd walk out on a Saturday morning and there'd be Wes, always watering down his lawn. And he'd go, hey, Tommy, how's it going? And I'd go, Wes, what's new? And he'd go, come here. Come here. And I'd walk over and go, what's going on, Wes? Did you hear the Joneses are getting a divorce? And Bob over there just got a big promotion. Those are leads, right or wrong, guys. Anyway, you add it up. But see, most people would say, well, is that a good appointment? I say that's a phenomenal appointment. Now, people that want to buy right now, people that want to sell right now, somebody just called in on an ad call, want to go look at a property, we know those are extraordinary appointments as well. What I want you to consider is this. It's a meeting with someone you like that can have a positive impact on your business right now in the very near future. That will expand your business. So if you're going on 20 appointments a month, guess what I want you to do? Start going on 40. I want you extending your time and brand out of the office, talking to people that can have a big impact on your business. If you can do 20 appointments a month, you can do 40. I think of one of the best clients I ever worked with. He was named the #1 agent in the world by Wall Street Journal. Very, very successful guy. When he came to me, he was doing $100 million a year in business. Is that good? Now, in fairness, he worked in the high end, so he'd sell 45 or 50 homes, and it totaled $100 million. But he had done that for many years in a row, and he had plateaued. When I sat down with him at the restaurant near his office and said, how many appointments do you go on? He said, I probably go on 3 or 4 a week. I said, I want to challenge you to go on 12 a week. I said, you are on this kind of growth path. You can't spend time sitting at your office. You've got to be out and about talking to people about buying and selling real estate. And I don't care where you are, in their living room, knee to knee, at some bar, hanging out at a restaurant. I don't care. I need you out talking to people that want to buy and sell. In 1 year, we went from 100 million to 178. The next year, over $290 million in sales. That's big performance considering the marketplace that he was in was beginning to slide backwards. He said, Tom, the major difference was, he said, I thought I had to meet with people that only wanted to do it right now, and if they weren't ready, he thought in his mind, I'm too busy, so he would say, I'll call you back later. I said, all I want you to be thinking is 2 or 3 appointments a day where you're talking to people. Look up here. You go on 20 appointments a month, someone is going to buy from you, whether you like it or not. Right or wrong, guys? I mean, just out of dumb luck, you're going to win. The point is this, my friends, I want you to really get, you've got to become a lean, mean appointment setting machine. That's where the breakthrough happens. Now, in addition, in your notes, I wrote down number 3 again, there's no wrong way to meet new people. No wrong way to do it. Email, online, websites, face-to-face, open house, expired listing. There's no wrong lead source, so we want to make sure we're wide open. You don't know where your next best customer is coming from. Have you ever worked at an open house and had a person walk in who you didn't connect with in the very beginning, but somehow you finally answered a question and they opened up and they ended up buying 3 or 4 houses as an investor from you? You just don't know who you're going to meet, so I want you to be open to meeting with a lot of people. The last thing I wrote down is you've got to master the answer to the question, how's the market? So what I want you to do now is I want you to pause the video. I want you to turn to your buddy one at a time and say, how's the market? And then answer the question. And we're going to do that right now in the studio audience, and I want you to do it sitting in your office. So don't turn to the dialogue. Don't turn to the dialogue. Just do what you do right now. Yeah, I busted a few of you. Instead, just turn to your buddy and say, how's the market? And see how they respond. Go ahead and pause the video. Do it right now. All right, so welcome back. Now, I was watching the studio audience, and you were probably watching what everybody was saying. I kind of set you up earlier and said, the answer is definitely not great. I don't care if your market's going like this. The answer isn't great. If the market's going like this, saying great is really bad, because they're going to look at you and say, do you know anything about what's happening in the marketplace today? Or worse, agents that say, well, I'm doing fantastic. That may not be the case for the person that's asking you the question. They may be dealing with some hardship. They may be dealing with a challenge. We've got to be open to where they're at. So I want you to consider, if you flip a few pages to the back of this section, there's multiple little dialogues on 2 pages, a couple little examples of how's the market. So I want you to consider, when someone says to you, hey, how's the market? A smart answer is, you know, first of all, thank you for asking, and that depends. Are you interested in buying, selling, investing, or renting or leasing, as they're all very different? Which aspect of the market are you interested in? See, rather than starting to tell them about, well, selling is this and buying is that and investing is this, or, you know, man, we're dealing with this and this is going on in the banks or that, you're giving them too much information that they may not want. Instead, find out which segment of the market they're interested in, and then you can say, well, tell me what are you interested in doing? So I say, I'm walking into Starbucks. I got my company name badge on. I order my triple waka laka makaluka. And someone says, hey man, you're at RE/MAX, what's going on in the market? They're asking the same question, how's the market? Now I have a choice. I could do this. Come here, let me tell you. Or I can do, how's the real estate market? And make sure that all 97 people in Starbucks hear the presentation. I'm into this stuff, guys. I want the world to know. So I say, how's the market? You know, it really depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, invest, or lease? Which part of the market are you interested in? Tell me more about that. And the person says, you know, I'm just kind of curious. I'm just kind of curious. And that's where you can say, well, let me tell you about the overall market. We're up 2% on sales. Prices are down by this. This seems to be the leading and lagging indicator. This is what's selling. This is what isn't selling. But then I would always go back to him after you give him a little bit of the scoop. Then you want to say, so I'm just curious, were you asking about your own residence or perhaps someone you know? Perhaps the value of a property you own or someone else owns? Well, truth be told, you know, we own a property and we've been thinking about this. And so you give them a little bit of information, you find out exactly what segment of the market they want, and then you ask another question. So all the dialogues are right there. And before we're done today, you're going to role play those dialogues. And I promise you this. You are going to schedule so many appointments. Because everywhere you go, you could be at a social function, you could be on the soccer field, and the people know you're in real estate. You're not wearing your name badge on the soccer field. That would be awkward, right? I mean, you're showing up in a pair of shorts and a name badge and a t-shirt. We're not going to do that, but they know who you are. And, you know, in the midst of the game, they turn and go, hey, what's going on in the market? And you go, hey, you know, that really depends. I mean, you know, people are buying, selling, investing, or leasing. They're all totally different. Which part are you looking at? Because, you know, they're all different. And we're still watching the game, right? People are going to ask you all the time. And when you know what to say, you're going to schedule so many appointments that 20 a month or 30 a month or 40 a month becomes a no-brainer. My client down in San Diego, this is the one script she memorized and had it cold. Didn't matter where she went, everybody asked because she always wore a company name badge and was never a secret agent. So let's go back and let's finish that last page. I'm going to give you some assignments and then have you do some role plays. So you can see down below it says, how's the market? You've been given that dialogue. I want to talk to you quickly about role playing and effective communication. If you've never taken the time to role play and practice scripts and dialogues before, it's something I prided myself on doing. I've taught 80, 90,000 agents how to role play effectively, how to do their listing presentations right. This is what we know. If you see that little pie graph there, what we know today is that that smallest pie, 7% of your total communication are the words that you use. So even 7% of watching this video right now, only 7% of the message is the actual words that are coming out of my mouth. When you're talking to a client, have you ever heard them say one thing, but knew as you watched them there was a totally different message going on? We've all been there before. Honey, do you like my outfit? Oh, I really like your outfit. You know exactly what that means because her body language told you more. Look at the next one, the bottom one, 38%. That's your tonality. 38% is your tonality, or how the words sound. How the words sound. If I said to you, hi, that's different from hi. Now the word is exactly the same, H-I, but how the word sounds creates a totally different interpretation for the listener. Someone says, how's the market? If you go, that depends. Are you going to buy, sell, invest, or rent? They're all very different. That's different from, thanks for asking, that really depends. Are you interested in buying, selling, investing, or leasing? Which part of the market are you interested in? Yeah, you're all picking up on the physiology. I like that. I hope you are too. But that's the last part. If you saw this, what you saw was 55% of communication is body language, right? It's not just what they say, it's how they say it and what's their physiology saying when they say it. That's what really matters. Now, I keep referencing them, you know, the buyer, the seller, the prospect you're talking to, but who am I really referring to? I'm really referring to you. If you want to become extraordinary at sales power, when you look at that, that should naturally and automatically cause you to think, I better memorize all the scripts and dialogues. I better practice all the dialogues because the human mind can only focus on one thing at a time. If I ask you to think about a prospect, you're thinking about that prospect. If I say, tell me your parents' names, you don't combine them into one, you go mom, dad, right? But when you're in a selling situation, the only thing you should be focusing on is what? The customer. But if you're thinking about what you're going to say next, you're not listening. You miss the little subtleties. You miss when they say, oh yeah, we're thinking about listing with you, but we just need a little time. And you see this, that subtle little this, guess what that tells you? They're meeting with someone else, and there's a good chance you're not getting the listing, and people do that every day. So I want to stress to you, you're about to role play that new dialogue. It's about practicing, rehearsing, memorizing, and internalizing the dialogue so you don't sound like you are reading a script at people, but instead, your personality shines. That's what we need to have happen. Your personality, your energy shows up, and the words are only 7% of the total message. So write this down in your notes. On that same page, there's 3 things you have to do to become good at practicing dialogues. Number 1 is you want to read the dialogue out loud 5 to 7 times as fast as you can. So just like an actor or an actress would rehearse their lines, they do the same thing. They read it over and 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 over, and they try and do it with a big smile to get the words out of the way so then you can add your tonality, your personality into the words. But if you're reading the script, it's very hard to do that. So you read it really fast. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to practice with a buddy. So you turn to the person to your right or left and you say, I'm going to be A, you're going to be B. You're going to ask me, how's the market? And I'm going to say, that depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, invest, or lease? Which part of the market are you interested in? And they can take you through any one of those different scenarios we've given you in the book. And then the very best people take it one step further. They do the third step in role-playing and practicing, which means they incorporate objections into every scenario they role-play. At the end of the day, the buyers and sellers today, as we will discuss, they average 6,000 sales messages a day. The average human being today gets 6,000 times a day. They're told to buy this soap, try out this gas station, go to this liquor store, how about a bud? All that stuff's going on nonstop. And you know what? Generally speaking, people today are a little more cynical when it comes to salespeople. So they're not just going to give up readily every piece of information we need to help them. So we've got to be comfortable answering questions, dealing with objections, everything from, thanks so much for the information, but I've got a friend in the business, right? All those little things that we hear every single day, we have to know what to say and be comfortable handling them. The only way to do it, my friends, is to practice. The only way to do it is to practice. So here's what I want you to do. Turn to the next page and let's review our action steps. The first thing I want you to do, write this down in your book, please, is I want you to write down this email address, salespower@yourcoach.com. salespower@yourcoach.com. Matter of fact, will you put that in your phone? Will you put it into your database? So anytime a question arises, anytime something comes up over the course of your time in Sales Power, if you need help, if you've got a question, hey, Tom talked about this, can I get a little more clarification on that? Just email us and we're right there, ready to serve and ready to help. You have our number, 888-866-3377. You can call us as well, or you can email, but we're here to help you get through this experience and make it the best it can be for you. The next thing on our list, in your assignments this week, I want you to take the time to review your journal. All those CDs you received, all the little bonus materials we put together for you to get the most out of this program, which means, you know, laying in bed tonight, just start going through everything you see inside there. Number 2 on the list, take a look at all the warm-up CDs, all those little CD messages. Those were designed to have me pump you up before you go do any one of those activities, like a listing presentation. It's me and you together. You're in your car, and I'm saying, okay, let's focus on A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Did you qualify them? Did you do all the things you need to do as that quick coaching every great salesperson needs right before you go into the game? That's what those warm-up CDs are. In addition, I need you to go to yourcoach.com, use your username and password to get access to all the valuable tools, strategies, live audio programs, additional scripts and dialogues. There is so much stuff there for you. Do you want to watch live listing presentations? Do you want to download CDs of objection handling? Everything is there and it's all yours during your time in Sales Power. So get onto yourcoach.com, start looking around and seeing what's there. Look for ways in the beginning to only plus and enhance what you already do. Don't start jumping forward into things you're not doing yet. Let's wait and we'll get there as we progress together. The last thing I wrote down is I want you to practice today. How's the market? And I want you to do that practice for about 20 minutes. I know that may sound like a long time because we've been together now for more than an hour. I want you to practice it for 20 minutes so you can walk confidently into any situation right now and have somebody say, hey, you're in real estate, how's the market? And bam, that dialogue comes out of you naturally and automatically, and you always ask for an appointment at the end, and you're gonna love it. So as we wrap this up, we've covered a lot of ground today. You know what I expect, you know the numbers, you know about focusing on appointments, you know what to say, you know you got to get the words out of the way so you can put you into it, and you know now you're a lean, mean appointment setting machine. So let's finish with this thought. Now more than ever, what I really want you to get is that your strategy matters, and throughout the course of your time in this program, your passion rules. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next session. Thanks for today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.